Hi, folks. Welcome to Hitting the Mark with Harry and Mark. I'm your co-host Mark. This is your co-host Harry.
Hello.
We're two idiots who love to talk about things we have no idea what we're talking about.
Mm,
Clean.
mm. Good
I
intro.
want you all to
What
know
episode is
I was able
this?
to do that from the beginning. No, 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 no. Don't you spoil it. Don't you ruin this for me. I've been able to do this from the beginning. I've chosen not to. Okay? Okay, pal? Yeah?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
All right. Okay.
I believe you.
Yeah, you better. It just happens to be I think our 30th or a 30 odd. In case you were wondering, just by any chance, you know,
33.
33rd. Hey, third try
Yeah.
by a factor of 10, or no, 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 by a factor of 5. I always forget that the power's up. Whatever. I just probably made myself look like a fucking 5-year-old there. Whatever. Hi there, folks. We hope you had a wonderful week.
Same.
Thank you for that long-winded cover there, Harry. I really appreciated that. It really made me feel like we were part of a professional, coherent team.
If you can't see me, but I'm doing air guns at you.
Yeah, yeah. That's what I expect
Ow.
you're doing all the time, even when you're just leaving me in that nice little fart of a scene right there. It's just
Yeah.
it was like you just let me crack a fart and you just threw me under the bus.
No. No.
Yeah, fuck you, Harry. Now, now, while you're doing that, tell me how your day was.
Um. I'll tell you more about my day. I'll tell you about my week. My
Oh,
week. Um. My week was all right. Work is work. Um. I didn't do anything extravagant. Um. From what I remember.
huh, what
Um.
an odd, like, just coincidental through line that we seem to be both doing.
Yeah.
It's almost like we're in a pandemic and
Well,
we're both sedentary human beings.
yeah, basically.
Amazing.
I enjoyed some like my weekend was basically a lot of errands, unfortunately.
Who doesn't
It's
love
that's
errands?
Yeah, that's the one thing about being an adult. You don't really get weekends anymore.
Don't
You
remind
get
me.
you
Don't.
get you get time not working, which you use up to do things that you can't do while you're working.
Hmm.
Yeah, that happens.
You are just awful.
Yeah.
You
Oh,
just you just remind me of
I
all the things in life.
I got new tires today for my car. Hey,
That
that
was
was cool.
amazing.
Yeah, yeah.
That's great. Was that part of an errand?
Basically,
Yeah,
yeah.
fuck you.
um, uh, I have so on my free time, I have been playing games, which I will talk about in our gaming section.
Yes,
Um,
you will.
yeah. So there's that. I think there's a game that I started playing that I haven't told you about yet, so it's gonna be a
Oh,
surprise. I just remembered right now. I've played it before, but I haven't mentioned that I've been playing it recently. So maybe I might have told you and I forgot. Sorry, podcast, but we'll see. I don't remember talking about it recently. Um, but yeah. How about you? How has your week been, Mark?
wow, way to just fucking blue ball the podcast. Way to blue ball me. It really hurts physically, emotionally.
Mm,
Whatever, no big deal. Um, my week was fine. I saw 2 movies that we'll be reviewing. Well, more glossing over, really. Uh, Unlike you, I will say them right now. In the same day, I watched Pig
mm-hmm.
and The Green Knight in that order. They're both
Cool.
wonderfully weird palate cleansers to each other.
Okay.
But anyway, I have a more pressing matter to discuss. I've done it. I did it. I
You
told
did?
you that if I wouldn't do it, then it's not going to get done. I did not paint this week.
Yeah.
I just need to bring that to your attention. I needed to because I feel like after watching The Green Knight, I'm on a mission of just just courage and honesty,
Mhm.
okay? Okay? And I didn't do it. And I'm going to tell you part of my excuse,
Okay.
okay? I don't have a paint vacuum.
Okay. I guess that makes
Yeah.
sense.
So, when you're sitting there and you've got, this tiny little thing that you need painted, and you just pull your hand or you pull your finger back on the little lever that sprays all the paint, and you're just spraying it right on the table,
Mm-hmm.
and you keep doing that over a span of like 5 years, and then the entire room's covered in like paint particulates.
Okay.
Well,
Yes.
I don't want that.
That makes sense.
So what I'm going to do, instead of buying something for about $60, I'm going to spend $60 to make a far less efficient version of one.
Mm.
Mm, mhm,
Okay.
mhm.
Yeah.
See, this is the mindset of someone who puts things off, right? You have to buy the perfect
Yeah.
version of something, you have to make a project, or you have to do the perfect version of something. What I have to do is most of these setups are typically like boxes or tubs with a filter between you and a small bathroom fan. You could buy one of these anywhere you want. You can get one at like Lowe's, Home Depot, online. Um, you connect that to some extension cables, plug it into the outlet, and attach the fan, the opposite end, to tubing that goes outside your window.
Uh-huh. Okay.
So I'm going to do that. And then I'm going to paint. And then I'm going to make sure that I paint because, once I'll do that, I'll be complete and I'll be
Yeah.
ready, and there will be nothing to stop me from
Nothing.
from painting,
Mm-hmm. Nothing at all.
except I'm worried that maybe I nipped my Tall Geese Gundam a little too close to the ankle, so I might need to buy a new one and
Yeesh.
resand that.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's gonna yeah, that's another task that might take a while. You got to make sure that it's perfect before you go painting, because otherwise it's just going to look so bad. Why would you want it to look bad?
True. True. This is-
It's like you miss 100% of the shots you don't take.
Yeah.
Whoever said that must have not have been a basketball player. So I don't know. I don't
Yeah.
know. That's just me. But whatever, whatever. I'll get there eventually.
I believe in you.
By the time I pull my hand, fuck. By the time I pull my finger back on that lever action, I'm going to die of a heart attack at like 90. But hey, at least my setup will look so professional.
That's true.
That's yeah,
It,
yeah,
it'll
yeah.
remind me of those those Twitch streamers who have like, like two, $3,000 like PCs and like five monitors and like a $200+ microphone and like a like a $3,000 fucking camera. Like they have like the nice ass chair and the fucking neon lights in the background, and they're like streaming to like zero people.
God damn it, I did that too. Shit. Why are you calling me out? Why are you peering into my soul, huh?
Oh
Bastard.
man.
Anyway,
Mm-hmm.
I got in some time with System Shock 2. I'm still enjoying it.
Okay. Uh-huh.
Uh being on uh a time budget,
Yeah.
and doing some streaming with you,
Mm-hmm.
doing
Mm-hmm.
some game night stuff, uh, and having a productive life is kind of hard to play everything
This is true.
for a super extended amount of time. But I did get the chance to play it, and it's reminding me of some of the things that I really like
Oh.
mechanics wise. Um, but we can get into that part later. Harry,
Mm-hmm.
what's a subject you would like to begin with?
Um, let's go to cinema. Give me your reviews.
Semina. Okay, okay.
Yeah.
So, uh, I saw Pig, and I'm gonna completely throw my girlfriend under the bus.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But we missed, I think, the first 15 minutes of it. No, baby, I'm just kidding. It was a group
Oh.
accident. We both missed it together. Um, so I didn't get into the movie until I think essentially the near end of the first act, which is kind of shitty, but whatever. So Pig. Pig is a story about I probably have already said this story before, a reclusive truffle forager who lives in the outskirts of Oregon, Portland, I think, Portland, Oregon. And he lives out there with his truffle pig. And the pig is meant to sniff out the truffles. He sells them to a buyer, and he gets to live his hobo life. The hobo is Nicolas Cage, who I will get to very quickly on this.
Mm.
And one day the pig goes missing, and he goes on a journey to find said pig and kind of go back to his life. Um, I'm gonna like fucking level with you. I actually thought this movie was fucking great. Like
Okay.
the trailers for what I saw of it, and I didn't see too many. I saw one or two different trailers. Almost painted this as like a uh one of the million John Wick kind of movies. Like, oh, there's no action sequences, but they're building to something. Da 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 da. It's about this guy who's using an animal as a coping mechanism. Uh, you get the idea.
Yeah.
I was thoroughly surprised when it had no action whatsoever. Like all of it is character driven, uh, just just nail biting emotional like character drives. Like holy Toledo. Um, there is something to be said about Jack Nicholson, who is not
Okay.
in this movie because I meant to say Nicolas Cage.
Yes.
Um, we all get it. Like he's a meme, like Ghost Rider, National Treasure,
Right.
hodgepodge this, hodgepodge that. He's like,
Mm-hmm.
there was a point I think where he was really, really great at acting, like really great, and then he's kind of just taking anything he can now for his paychecks, pay off any
Yes.
kind of debt he has. Um, he was fucking amazing in this. Like absolutely fucking breathtaking. And this is coming from a guy who managed to sit through fucking Willy's Wonderland or Wonder House or whatever it is. Essentially, minor footnote, a movie about fucking I almost said Jack Nicholson. Nicolas Cage, who doesn't talk the entire movie, who works in an amusement park or a little amusement Chuck E. Cheese store and kills evil animatronic Chuck E. Cheese robots.
Mm.
And that movie's fucking dreck awful. Um, but yeah, so he's coming fresh off that, and he's somber, he's reserved, he is almost none of like the memery that everyone knows him as. This is a performance. Uh, I don't want to say it's copying John Wick, but he has this withheld kind of pain that you feel the entire time, and it sticks with you. Um, Alex Wolf, who who was the actor in Hereditary, he was in Old. Uh, he's actually he's been in a bunch of things lately too. He's an
Mm-hmm.
up and coming actor. He's very good too. Um, he plays a he plays a young and up and coming businessman who buys his truffles. Uh,
Okay.
he already has a name. It's his father's name. His father runs all these businesses in the business, and he's trying to carve something out for himself. And the movie goes to all these lengths to like look down on this character. Like he wants to make a name for himself. He's kind, but he kind of gets wrapped up in like this like businessman vibe, this businessman attitude that completely gets in the way of like who he is as a person. There's there's really great filmmaking where it's like he's in front of a mirror like 2 or 3 times doing self-help or like, you know, the you want it, go get it. That there's nothing stopping you but yourself. And like he's talking to himself, psyching himself up, and like mid sentence, the scene just cuts away from him. Like it doesn't even care what he has to say. So,
Mm.
um, he's really good in it. They have a really great chemistry together, Nicolas Cage and him, almost father and son like, but uh, definitely more mentor mentee. Um, there's really not many other principal actors in this other than the two of them. There are a couple, recognizable faces, but that's about it.
Okay.
Nicolas Cage plays a long disappeared. God, I don't mean to compare this movie to John Wick,
Mm.
uh, but it does have some, I think, surface level comparisons.
Okay.
Nicolas Cage plays a character called Robert, who is like a
Uh,
legend in
mhm.
Oregon's culinary like circles from like the late '90s to the early 2000s. Like he's this big established name. Like there are scenes where Alex Wolff's character, I forget his name, it doesn't really matter.
Mm.
Uh, the mere mention of his name, Rob Feld, I'm with Rob Feld, like pauses the movie and then like there's no other discussion and then done. Um, so you have this guy who's essentially like a recluse because of some tragedy that you don't quite know about. The story doesn't say, like, oh, I lost my daughter, I lost my wife in this terrible accident.
Yeah.
A lot of what we have to see is the main character kind of re-entering this world and people reacting to him. And it's not
Mhm.
like, yo, you know who that is? 10 minutes of exposition. Da 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 da. It's, hey, we're sorry about your loss, or like, hey, Rob, we tried to keep the business open ever since, what happened, but
Yeah.
there's only so much we could do, or hey, I'm only doing this for you for old time's sake. Like, there's nothing so, I think, silly as, an explanation. It's this guy who's dealing with some trauma. He has placed some of his pain into this pig. He has left the world. He doesn't really need anyone else, want anyone else. And when the pig goes, he goes to this guy who he has a flimsy business relationship with to begin with,
Mhm.
and everyone's kind of just reacting to this guy's uh, coming back into the environment. I suppose there are two spectacularly well made scenes.
Mm.
Um, Nicolas Cage has adopted somewhat of like a nihilistic uh, attitude in this. I think is like a coping, maybe not a coping mechanism, but just uh, it doesn't matter. He is a nihilistic attitude in the
Mhm.
movie, and they're going for answers about one of the middlemen who might have taken the pig, and he goes to this this new restaurant, this one of the, one of these new pretentious ones where they charge you out the ass for like a millimeter of food on a pristine white plate. You know the kind,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
So he goes to one of these places and he like asks for the waitress to give him the chef. Like, I would like to speak to your chef or
Mm,
the owner, whoever. It's
yeah.
some guy, right? And they bring him over, and he doesn't recognize who Rob Feld is. Why would he? Right? It's been like 15, 20 years. Um, but Alex Wolf character says, "Tell him who you are," and the guy's like, "Oh shit, Rob Feld! Oh man, it's amazing to see you. Like, you might not know this, but I actually worked under you." And Nicolas Cage's like, "Yeah, I know. I fired you for like overcooking the pasta too many times." And the chef is like, "Oh, oh Rob Feld, oh whatever. I hope you're having fun and shooting the shit." And Nicolas Cage, this is I think the moment where I knew I was in love with this movie. He sits the guy down and he literally opens his soul up in the middle of the fucking movie. Like, I don't want to get too much into it. Like,
Yeah.
he essentially asks him what he's doing with his life. Like, he looks at this scrap of food and he's like, "Do you like doing this?" And the guy won't give him a straight answer. He's like, "Oh, well, it's cutting edge stuff. This is really exciting. It's fun and it's neat." He's like, "Oh, so you like cooking this?" He's like, "Oh, yes, yes."
Hmm.
Nicolas Cage asks, "Nah, you fuck it. I'm gonna spoil. I fucking
Do it.
love this shit." So Nicolas Cage is like, "So you enjoy doing this? This is the food that you like cooking?" And he won't give him a straight answer. He'll kind of like dodge. He'll say like, "Sure, yeah, yeah, yeah." And Nicolas Cage like, "What business did you tell me that you wanted to open up? What were you always telling me?" Like almost 20 years, and he still remembers. That's a point they make, is that he doesn't forget a meal that he made or the people who worked under him. And he's like, "You wanted to open up a pub." And the guy's like, "No, no, no. It doesn't. That's not economically viable here. Everyone's got a pub, and it's like it doesn't matter." And he's like, "Yeah." Nicolas Cage's character says, "I'll bet you even remember what you were going to cook, weren't you, as your meal?" And I'm describing this very poorly. Essentially, think of like the best exchange I can kind of think of is Daggett versus Bane in The Dark Knight Rises. Like, it's not as like
Okay.
cruel, but the idea of like this guy who feels like he's established, who feels like he's doing something, and just this other guy just cutting through all of it and being like, "No, you're not doing this because it makes you happy. You're not doing this because it fulfills you. These people don't even care who you are.
Mm,
People don't get a lot of options in life." And at the end of it, the guy's like, he's gone from like smiling to nervously laughing to like sobbing. And this moment I would say like halfway through the movie, or
mhm,
like close to three-fourths of the way through the movie. And I don't know what it is. Like, it's such a well-made scene. The writing and the directing are top notch. And Nicolas Cage is just literally like emotionally like, "Hey, pal, you don't seem actually happy." And coming from someone who isn't happy, we tend to see these things, and
mhm,
you can change that, but I don't think I can. So you might as well get on that. Like, that scene left me kind of floored. Um,
mm,
and there's another scene. So one of the little subplots, I guess you could call it, not really subplots, but one of the little added character beats that Alex Wolf gets is that he knows um, he knows Rob Feld
mm,
to a degree. He cooked for his parents one night. He does this really touching story about how, my parents used to fight all the time when they would go out. They would go out, they would go get some food and have a little drink. And every night they went out, they would fight. And one day they went to a restaurant, and I think it was yours. You cooked for my parents, and that night they were happy. They they would talk about that night for years. And you find out that that the mother attempted suicide and she's on some kind of life support. She's been on it for years. And the father is kind of like Nicolas Cage. He is angry inside, he is tired, he is hardened his heart, right? There's
Yeah.
a great moment not too far after the dressing down bit that I was telling you about with the
Yep.
chef. Um, that Nicolas Cage meets up with Alex Wolff's father, who we find out is partly responsible or directly responsible for kidnapping Nicolas Cage's pig. And the first scene is very cold. Almost the entire scene is raining when we first
Mm.
establish the scene together. And then they bring it inside, and you use very cold shots or cold tone framing, like uh, grays, light blues, white. Gives a very like sad, melancholy, uh, cold, prickly like sensation, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, and he's like, you know what? Fuck you. I have your pig. If you don't want me to turn it into bacon, you'll keep the fuck away. Fuck off. And Nicolas Cage is like, was this coldness always there, or was it after she died? And he's like, you know what? Fuck you. Whatever. Bye. So Nicolas Cage and Alex Wolff's characters, they kind of reconcile a bit, and they hatch a plan to cook dinner for Alex Wolff's father.
Mm.
And the next scene, it's in this orange, dimly lit, still very warm colored scene where it's Alex Wolff, Nicolas Cage, and the father character, and they're cooking this food. And this scene also is fucking gorgeous. But they sit them down, they're all eating, and it's all quiet for about 45 good seconds. He sits down. He's like, you know what? I guess this is some kind of bygones be bygones thing. I'll eat some of this food. He's sitting down and he takes a swig of wine and he's about to put it down and he lifts the glass up and he starts to sniff it. And like
Mm-hmm.
something just unlocks in the character, the father character.
Yeah.
And he starts sobbing. So
Okay.
he fucking runs into his study and he starts like frantically drinking whiskey. You find out that that was the meal that the father had with the mother and wife character the night Alex Wolff was talking about, like the last, probably the only moment he ever saw his parents happy.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like this shit. I was like, this is straight out of a fucking anime. You
Right.
got like you got your boss at the end of this anime, right? And instead of just fighting him, he just cuts to the soul of this guy, like, oh, I know you can feel, I know you've got a heart. I don't know, I'm not gonna stop fighting until we find it. And fucking Nicolas Cage just makes this dude a meal so good and so like connected to who he is as a human being that it just makes him fucking breaks down his entire like wall.
Mm.
Those were the two scenes that I was like, wow, this fucking tops anything John Wick could ever do. Like
Oh.
as someone who likes John Wick,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not gonna lie, I thought the first one, I think, was the only genuinely creative film.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to do any shots across the bow, but I feel like John Wick was the one movie that I think really hit people. The second
Yeah.
and third were like, "Oh, look at all the kills," but like the first one, I think the story was so fresh. The concept of like this character having this emotional baggage and guilt that they're putting on this dog, and then you find out everything about them afterwards,
Mm.
and the hell that's like that. I think that template is done so much better in this, in an emotional sense. I think
Yeah.
the character weaving in John Wick. I don't know why I'm fucking bringing up John Wick. John Wick is good. I'm not knocking it. I think the first one is an exemplary like action film and a
Mm-hmm.
great and a great emotional piece. but I think that's about it. I think Nicolas Cage's Pig kind of elevates the idea without the action.
Okay.
Um, but yeah, this movie was really fucking good. Like I cried, and
Oh.
I cry easily, folks. No, like this definitely put a couple tears to my eye. Like a very emotional film, uh, and a really great story of like how to like how to just process loss and grief. But yeah, anyway, Pig,
Yeah.
check it out. Nicolas Cage, one of the better performances of his career so far, of his career lately. Um,
And
oh, any
where?
comments?
Sorry.
You
Where did you
better.
watch this at?
I
Theater
watched
or?
this at the Metreon in SF.
Oh, okay. Good shit.
Yeah, I wanted to see what the screens were like. I don't think I'm gonna branch out too far still, just because of the pandemic, just because of the new variant, which I think we should all be careful about just in case.
Right.
Um, but yeah, I think if I go out and do a movie, it's probably going to be a local theater again, a local one where I can
Mm.
control like where I'm sitting and all that. But yeah, and then the Green Knight I saw in my hometown.
Oh.
You know,
Um.
when you you haven't had a lot
Yeah.
to drink, and you talk about fucking pigs all day, and you finally get some water. Oh my
um.
god.
Definitely not the kind of movie I thought it was gonna be.
Oh yeah.
So, we're- for some reason, because I still have not seen the movie Mandy, with Nicolas Cage.
Please
Um,
no.
but that is what came to mind when I saw Pig.
So yeah, I get you. Mandy is like an enjoyable movie if you go in wanting Nicolas Cage to do the opposite of Pig. I
Understandable.
really like. I'm not kidding. Like adaptation, leaving Las Vegas. Like he had a I don't want to say a bright future, but he had the makings there of being just an absolute like quality actor. And I mean, he
Yeah.
still is if he's doing something like Pig. But I think Mandy and something like what is it, Willy's Wonderland, are examples of movies where it's just like him becoming the meme.
Yeah.
Like he's less Nicolas Cage, the man, the actor, and more just like someone just transposed this living internet organism into the world.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
yeah,
He's everywhere. He's done a lot of movies.
you know what we need to do?
Huh.
We need to watch Mandy together.
Okay.
Yeah. So there we go. What we need to do is make that one of our few like get together for the first time or something movies. Not that we have to
Mm-hmm.
do it soon, but like pick a time where we just watch Nicolas Cage just cage out.
Sounds
Just
fantastic.
rage cage it.
Rage Cage.
Yeah, I like that. He should just change his name to Rage Cage.
Yeah,
Seriously.
he really should. All right.
Okay.
Next.
Let me get some more water in my system. Cleanse my palate.
Mm.
The other one's Green Knight. It's fine. All right, moving on. No, uh, the next one is Green Knight.
Yeah.
So I didn't know the story of Gawain, Gawain, Garwin. I don't know. I did not know the story of the Green Knight. I had to find out, I think, a little bit before. Uh, I think about a week before that I put in any effort to like figure out what the story was about. Um, it's basically a not a cautionary tale, but a kind of a waggle your finger tale at being a coward.
Okay.
Uh, if I'm misrepresenting the story, please, Harry, correct me. You take this story that you have no interest in,
Yeah.
look it up as I'm speaking, and tell me that I'm wrong. Um, it's the story of Sir Gawain, who on Christmas, or Sir Garwin or Gowan, who on Christmas with the Knights of the Round Table and his old uncle King Arthur are beset upon by the Green Knight, who offers a challenge. Strike me down and you will own my act. And in a year's day, or in 1 year's time, allow me to repay the favor in kind, whether it be a blow to the cheek or a slice of the throat, right? Um, and Gowan does so. He lobs the head off of the Green Knight. Uh, and the Green Knight does not die. He grabs his head and he says 1 year and then storms off laughing. Um, and he goes on this trip and he has some kind of magical veiled tunic or uh, belt that he uses uh, to fend off from death.
Mm-hmm.
Um, essentially, the Green Knight, he goes to the Green Knight's chapel to God, it's so weird, this story. He essentially goes to the Green Knight's chapel to face his death, but still wears it, the little sash, to protect himself. And we find out that the whole thing was like a prank. It was a magical prank. Um,
Wow.
yeah, right. It was a magical prank by, I think, Morgan Le Fay. I don't really know too much about Britain history or Britain folklore. She magicked some lord, and he was like, "Oh man, didn't you enjoy that prank?" You find out that he returns, and everyone fucking wears a green sash because he couldn't take his, death like a man, apparently.
Mm.
Um, this movie does something very different. And when I
Okay.
mean different, I mean like this is some fucking 3D 40 move chess movie.
Oh.
Um, the film stars Dev Patel, who is fucking phenomenal in this, as Sir Gawain. Alicia Vikander has two parts. She plays uh, Sir Gawain's love interest and a temptress, a lady of an estate who tempts him later. Um, Sean Harris, who's I think most notably the bad guy in the last two Mission Impossible movies, and the spiky-haired asshole in Prometheus is briefly King Arthur. Holy shit! I just fucking realized that.
Yeah.
Whoa, 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 whoa! The actor and actress who are Arthur and Guinevere are both in fucking Prometheus. I was fucking wondering where I knew that
Oh.
those two from. Like, it wasn't just like, oh, I've seen these two actors before. Like, the actress who plays Guinevere, I forget her name, is uh Catelyn Stark's sister, the crazy one.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. But they're both in Prometheus together, Sean Harris and her. So yeah, fuck yeah, that's pretty fucking cool. Anywho, uh oh my god, this has a bunch of Game of Thrones actors in it too. Um Sean Harris and Kate Dickey is her name. They're both king and queen. Joel Edgerton, who I really enjoy just as an actor. He was in God, this is a bad example. He was in Bright. He was the orc opposite Will Smith,
Oh,
isn't it? Um, that was not a great movie for him, but he was great in it either way. Um, he's in it. Everyone is great in it. Harley Morgenthau from Cap and Winter Soldier are in it,
uh-huh.
so she gives a fine performance. Anywho, long story fucking short. Dev Patel plays Sir Gawain, and his mother, Morgan Le Fay, is. It's strange because I feel like this movie can be interpreted in a couple ways, and I'm interpreting it, or I'm telling you the way that I'm interpreting it. Gawain's mother, Morgan Le Fay, is essentially trying to give Sir Gawain a story, a tale.
Huh.
The beginning of the movie, and I think very much the same thing as the old Arthurian tale, is Arthur asks Gawain if he has any tales to tell, and reluctantly and embarrassingly, Gawain says he does not yet.
Uh,
Um, so I think this movie is Gawain's mother weaving a narrative, weaving a story for him, a tale of greatness. The same thing in the movie happens, or the same thing in the book happens, except in the movie, Morgan Le Fay is given more to work with. She has more screen time. She's given the conveyed reasoning as to why the Green Knight just barges in. It's a spell that Morgan Le Fay creates.
mm-hmm.
Um, so he hears the prompt by the Green Knight, and he answers the call, and the Green Knight simply sits there and bends his head ready to be chopped off. And Dev Patel's character, Gowan, is so like, what the fuck is this bullshit? What the fuck? You all saw this. He just put his head down. I'm just gonna slash it off. And he cuts the fucker's head off.
Mm-hmm.
And everyone takes it as a game. But he gets the axe. He gets the notoriety of defeating the Green Knight. And a year passes, and he is forced to go back on this trip. In 6 days, you will meet me at the Green Chapel, and I will lay upon you a blow of kindness, or a blow in kind with what you dealt me, or something along those lines. And along the way is a series of adventures that he goes through. He is accosted by a scavenger who steals his belongings. He finds Saint Winifred and returns her beheaded, her beheaded head. Um, he comes across giants. He comes across the estate of the Lord and Lady who tempt him, uh, and eventually he comes to the Green Knight. So I'm saying essentially plot beats, uh, but I can't convey how much of a fucking weird head trip this movie is, because it doesn't play out like a 100% like authentic story, not authentic, but like historically accurate. The tale of these Arthurian folkloric legends,
Yeah.
they're largely believed to be like amalgamations of people. King Arthur never existed, sadly. And you could tell me that there's no Easter Bunny and there's no Queen of England. Um, so I don't care with what degree the liberties they take are, because this is largely an artistic piece, and it's not so much, well, we have to depict whatever era of England we think we should do. It's how best can I convey the meaning of this story? And I think some people might be a little disappointed because they go in a slightly different direction. Um, but I was thoroughly pleased with how the story went. Again, I keep mentioning plot points, but I think it's a movie that has to be experienced because when I talk about like, oh, he does this and he does this and he does this, it doesn't convey really, I think, what's going on.
Mm.
The movie deals with concepts of like death, memory, uh, legacy, and all of that is kind of interwoven into these scenes in one
Hmm.
way or another. Uh, like stuff that I don't think people, and I to be fucking fair, I don't understand half this. Like the very first like adventure he really does is when he goes out, he comes across a battlefield and he finds the scavenger. And the
Mm.
scavenger's like, "Oh, hey, if you go this way instead of north where you should have been going the whole time, you'll get to the Green Chapel quicker." And he's like, "Oh, thanks." And he's like, "Oh, so aren't you gonna like pay for my information that I gave you?" And Gowan pays him, and then he's accosted by two people, and you find out that it was an ambush. And essentially, uh, the scavenger just takes his axe and horse and just runs off and says, "I'll finish your quest for you." And then 20 minutes later, oh, while he is subdued, while he's laying there hogtied, the camera pans or tilts, or when the camera's in a fixed position but just moves from right to left.
Yeah.
I don't know, whatever that is. Pans right. So we do a full 360 and we go from Dev Patel's Gowan, who is struggling along this tree, to as soon as it pans the full 60 degrees, him as a skeleton.
Huh.
And it holds on that for like 15 seconds and then it pans back in reverse and it goes back to him like struggling. And he gets out, and the next thing he does is he finds the head of Winifred. I don't know much about Saint Winifred. I just
Mm.
again looked this shit up like afterwards because I didn't know.
Yeah.
But essentially, the head of a woman who was killed by a lord, and then she, the spirit Saint Winifred, returns his equipment, and there's no discussion of like how it got there, whose it is, who's behind all this, any of that. So the movie is less tell you everything and more interpretive,
Okay.
um, which I think might irk some people because it's like, how does this movie make sense? Like, what am I supposed to make of it if it doesn't tell me what to do or how to feel? Like, there's a fucking bit where just Dev Patel just runs into a fox companion, and they
Hmm.
just go to a cliff, and there are just like 10 giants, like kaiju-sized giants, and the fox just howls, and the giants just howl for 20 seconds. And then that's it. We never see them again. I'm like, well, what the fuck do you make of this shit?
Yeah.
But like, all of this is creating like a very strange and offsetting kind of tone that I really like. It I wouldn't say it feels Arthurian from a film standpoint. It gets the message across perfectly fine, but it doesn't feel that way, and I think that's a refreshing pace. Um, Long story short, what I was saying might piss a couple people off, or not piss people off, is it doesn't really uh, adhere to the point of the story.
Mm.
So the ending of the book, or the Arthurian legend, is uh, Gawain essentially flees instead of taking instead of getting his head cut off. He decides not to, and everyone makes fun of him for it. He flees, and everyone wears a green sash and is like, "Hey, it's no fault of your own. You didn't know any better, but we're gonna kind of like jokingly rip you for the rest of your life because you bitched out." So, so at the end, I think the last 15, 20 minutes, uh, Gawain is sitting there in the chapel waiting for the Green Knight. The Green Knight awakens on Christmas Day, one full year, and says, "Are you ready, son?" No. "Are you ready?" And he's getting ready to chop Dev Patel's head off, and Dev Patel flinches twice,
Oh.
and the Green Knight chastises him for it. He's like, "Oh, did you see me flinch? Da 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 da." And whatever. So Dev Patel then, on the third strike, flees.
Mm.
Right. So, spoiler fucking alert. By the way, I'm sorry. Um, Dev Patel leaves. He essentially rides back to the kingdom unmolested.
Mm.
He becomes a knight. He uh, has a child with his girlfriend, his partner, and essentially fucking bails on her and just pays her gold for the child, which is a big fucking dick move, it looks like. He's crowned king. He marries some uh, other lady. His son is killed in battle. He becomes a reviled king. He sits there in this throne room, tired, old, disappointed, as his kingdom is crumbling and being attacked. And people slowly start to walk away from him as if they're slowly leaving his life, right? And in the end, he's on his own. And he looks down, and from the beginning of this set piece, which is all montage, from the moment he flees from the Green Knight to this moment, he's been wearing the green sash, the one that will protect him from all harm.
Mm.
So he looks down and he pulls it off, and his fucking head falls off.
Oh wow.
Yeah. And then, if not the fucking best mind fuck, it was all a vision. It was a vision that Dev Patel's Gowan has, should he not honorably accept his fate. So he flinches the second time, and he looks at the Green Knight and he says, "Wait, wait." And he removes the sash. And he says, "Okay, I'm ready." The Green Knight kneels down and congratulates him essentially. I can't remember. It's my brave Sir Gawain or something. He's like, "Oh fuck, nice." and, and then the movie ends with the biggest like, well, did he kill him or not? When the Green Knight looks at Dev Patel and he says, "No, off with your head," and that's it.
Oh.
So the movie's left kind of ambiguous as to whether or not he leaves that encounter actually alive or not. Um,
Mhm.
it does kind of fly in the face of the original story, where it's like, hey, this is a story about a guy who essentially, did not fulfill his honorable end of the story, right?
Yeah.
And this one is, hey, would you look at that? The the loosely based version of that story was a vision he has of who he becomes should he not accept his fate here and now.
Right.
And the real ending is, hey, Gawain accepted whatever fate come what may, and preserved his honor. I like this story. I like this movie. It's brimming with a lot of character. I wouldn't say an emotionally cold movie, but I mean, it's a very bleakly shot film. There's very any warmth or comfort in the movie. Uh, most uh most of the shots are in like a cold gray, whites, blues, greens. There's one really
Hmm.
great shot that is almost entirely orange.
Okay.
Um, it's yeah, it looks like some of it is only partially CGI. This movie seems to be shot almost entirely on location and
Hmm.
some sets. Um, but other than that, like Dev Patel gives a great fucking performance, and he's in the movie for the most part entirely on his own. Like you get a couple bits in the beginning. You've got the Lord and Lady somewhere in there. You've got the Scavenger and Winifred, but this is a very lonely movie that he shoulders almost entirely on his own. Uh, like fucking say what you will about his performance in The Last Airbender, but he was fucking great in this.
Okay.
Um, I can't think of a single performance that I thought was weak. Like genuinely, I thought Erin Kellyman, Carly Morgenthau, she has a small part. She's not even in it, I'd say, for about 5 minutes. Alicia Vikander has two parts that she differentiates pretty well. Um, a special point out goes to the actor who plays the Green Knight. Um, One of the decisions that they were talking about, Ralph Innocent, by the way. Uh, he was the father in Witch, the Witch, and he is one of the Ironborn in season 2 of Game of Thrones. Uh,
Oh.
he One of the things that they were talking about was what are they going to do with the Green Knight? And I think in Vanity Fair interview, they were saying like, well, do we get someone to vaguely voice over this stuff and we'll just CGI someone around it? Do we mocap this? Ultimately, they came to the decision of getting a very talented actor, and this guy is really solid for what he does. And just using makeup to kind of accentuate some of his performance. And the Green Knight is very interesting. He's like this bark and wooden uh, creature almost, very fascinating. And there's a lot of imagery of green as like verdigris, rot, nature based around that the not theme, but the motif. There's a lot of meditations on what the Green Knight is, what the Green Knight represents. And the Arthurian legend is typically about that. The march of Christian progress versus like Saxon nature and and whatnot, which I thought they briefly touched upon. But besides the point, Ralph Ineson gives a wonderful performance. This guy should do more fucking voiceover work.
Hmm.
Seriously, he has this just gravelly baritone voice, which just like rocks your fucking pelvic floor to its core. Like I'm talking, whoo! Like if there was a brown note in the form of this guy's voice, like half the population would shit themselves to death.
Hmm. Okay.
Yeah. Pretty good. I do recommend both movies, Pig and Green Knight. Green Knight, I think, is a little harder to swallow because like it doesn't have like a traditional like this is the story. This is how things have to go. It's more an experience, I would say. Just go kind of interpret it how you want. Not everything has to make sense necessarily. I'd have to watch it a couple times before I'm like, well, this actually doesn't make sense, and you're just, you know, making a movie that doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
But yeah, both are really good. I recommend it. I've still got a couple more movies I have to check out too.
Okay. Yeah, that's like I've heard mixed things on the interwebs about it, and thought it looked cool. Like I saw, I think like maybe the trailer or the like some pictures of it, like maybe like a few days before it got released. So kind
Hmm.
of, I don't know how
I
long
would.
it's been like
Okay.
promoted and stuff, but it
They didn't
just
put too much time into it,
yeah, okay, that's what I figured.
so. But honestly, I do recommend it. I really do.
Mhm.
Um, I think the movie should just be enjoyed for what it is.
Okay.
Like if you're expecting like a movie where they tell you the exact point of the story, I got news for you, brother. But if you go in and you kind of want to see like a mid-budget art house movie,
Mhm.
then I recommend this. Where it's like, oh hey, there's a little more to be interpreted. Uh, it's strange and it's a little unsettling, but
Mhm.
that's definitely because of the artist filming it. Then please, by all means, go ahead because I do think it's a solid movie to check.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, did you? I believe I showed you the obviously I showed you the blah, 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 blah. The thing I
Harry,
showed you.
don't dress this up like you sent it to me a week ago. You sent it to me like 10 minutes before the stream. Come on,
I
pal.
did.
We were
I
talking
did.
about it. We don't have to pretend
Look,
it's our
I was
show.
trying to sound professional, okay? And then I was
You're
like, well,
professional whatever way we decide to do this. Got that,
mm,
mister?
okay, fair enough. Well, let's talk about it then.
Okay. What are you trying to talk about again?
Son of a bitch. Lord of the Rings series. New picture
The
came out.
Amazon Lord of the Rings series,
Yeah.
yes.
The first picture has been released. And a lot of CGI from the looks of it. My first thoughts are, I think I pointed out to you earlier the two trees, um,
Oh, yeah.
in the
I didn't know
background.
what the fuck that was for a moment.
Yeah. Um, and I'm again like I read just the very beginning of the Silmarillion. I need to sit down and read the rest of it at some point, maybe. I don't know. But I'm excited to see where this goes because I know they are planning to do the second age. Um, I'm not familiar with a lot of that, obviously. Uh, but I think what we were looking at were uh, people cast for the
Mhm.
series. And one thing
Not
we,
not unknowns, but definitely a cast of not too established folk.
yeah, which I think is cool. I think having having some like a big name on the list, I think would really take away from what Lord of the Rings is. You know,
Mhm.
I think yeah, looking back, I mean, I think that's what kind of happened with Game of Thrones. Like I know, we all know who Ned Stark is,
Mhm.
but at the same time, like that was it, and it was to. I feel like they got Sean Bean like let's attract people who are into the fantasy world to get this going, and then you know I don't know, it just blew up from there. But
Yeah.
I think
I
that's what.
think I really do think that was a great choice for what it was because
Mm-hmm,
the book does the same thing. His death isn't just like, "Oh no, Ned Stark died."
yeah,
His death in in keeping with the show or the show is in keeping with the book is meant to drive the point of the show.
uh,
Like you can't just be honorable, but you can't just be a fucking little finger. You kind of or you can't just be honorable, but you can't just be all knowledgeable. You have to be Sansa Stark. I'm not
yeah,
going to fucking deny it. You have to be someone who has a moral code to a degree, but is not unwilling to play the game and play the game effectively.
yeah,
And let's be fucking honest. The show should have made fucking Sansa Stark the fucking queen in the end. I don't fucking care. I don't give a shit. Sansa Stark, she got her fucking due. Besides the point, I get where you're coming from with that, where they got a big actor to come in, and you had a bunch of other well-known like television talent, but for the most part, there weren't too many like big names, right? Like fucking Peter Dinklage, Charles Dance, Lena Headey. Lena Headey was an established actress before then, but you get the idea.
Yeah.
Nicholas Coster Waldo, uh, all of the Stark kids, uh, fucking Aidan Gillian literally just had a part on The Dark Knight a year. The Dark Knight Rises a year after the show started.
Hmm.
Like, yeah, where it's like Sean Bean, I think was the thing that pulled in a lot of oh, I'm not entirely sure about this da 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 performance,
Hmm.
and then you let him go.
Yep.
So like, what happens if you put the joke I made? I think the point of a big actor would detract from a show like this,
Hmm.
unless the point was to just kind of kill them off to prove a point. But then that wouldn't necessarily be the point of Lord of the Rings. The Lord of the Rings is kind of
Hmm.
like the epitome of like conventional fantasy. Like, hey, you know, fucking, I'm a good guy king, and let's do all this stuff, and for honor and glory, and let's defeat the forces of evil. So you have someone like Nicolas Cage playing like Gandalf, and it's like, oh, well, that just kind of draws attention to itself, doesn't it? And there's no
Hmm.
point to have someone like, well, hold on. If a fucking actor's good enough to play a part, then he or she should play the fucking part.
Right.
But the idea of having one or two like really big names, I think would take away from some of the performances, because it's like some of these people look like actors that you and I have seen in passing before.
Hmm. Hmm.
Um, but like they aren't like these aren't people who I think have had, aside from like a handful of people, like there's Robert Mario, who I believe was just in Skull and Bone, and
Hmm.
Skull and Bone was good. Uh, I thought his little acting group I thought was the best part of it. You have Jason Mawley or Maul, who was Benjen Stark in Game of Thrones. Like you see people who like at a passing glance are like, oh, they were this person in this movie, but never like, well, this is a big name actor. Oh, this is a big name guy. Like
Hmm.
these are probably actors and actresses who have put in effort, put in time, who have done the television circuit, who've done a couple movies, who are solid, dependable actors. And I love that. I love that like none of these people are household names. I love it. I absolutely fucking love it.
Yeah. I can get behind that too.
Fuck yeah.
But
I am kind of jonesing for Nicolas Cage to be Gandalf. Just like get him in the second age when he's young and handsome.
hmm. Hmm. Um.
I'm looking for a magic ring. The one ring, it's what am I trying? No, I don't know.
The
So
only
good.
other
Anyway,
news about the show right now is that it's going to be released next year. That's it. So not a lot
fucking
of information yet.
they've been trying to make this thing for like, well, they've been in production for this for like 4 fucking years.
Yeah, I'm sure
It's
most of it is just CGI and maybe voice acting, and then now they're just like, all right, let's get some actual actors in there. Let's go. Let's put them in there.
yeah, let's CGI their faces on our beanbag physical performances that we have.
Right.
But I am excited. Say what you will, excitement be damned. But a lot of these large like corporate entities are putting a lot of fucking money into
Yeah, sure.
these these shows. This, I believe, I again, inflation or one random episode of something from like a year or 2 years ago, but I believe this
Mm-hmm.
show is going to be the most expensive show ever produced.
I think I heard
Um,
that too.
yeah, and the scope of the and it's like I'm looking at this image, and there are two images you're showing me. One is of someone standing over a little valley overlooking a city, and in the
Yeah.
background are the two trees, one or
Two.
two trees of Valar.
Yeah.
And then you super zoom in, and it's the two trees, and they literally look like the fucking suns.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and it looks amazing. Like I can't tell you where the real begins and the CGI begins, or whether it's all CGI or something. Like I can't tell if the person in the foreground is even, flesh and blood. Um, I'm torn because it's like, you know, Amazon, whatever.
Yeah.
But like they're putting effort into making what looks like a really good show. Well, I don't even know if it's going to be really good, but a show nonetheless. And it reminds me of Apple TV's The Foundation, a show that has such tremendous vision and scope that it's a wonder it's even fucking made.
Mm.
And that I'm looking forward to seeing. If I don't see the show, fine, but I would like to see what sense of scope the show has.
Okay.
And you've heard my opinion where it's like I think the
Mm-hmm.
show should try a different kind of art style, but I'm never going to complain too hard when when they do a good job with the art style that's already established. If they want to do
Okay.
Lord of the Rings in like the vision of Peter Jackson, or I'm sorry, in the vision of the guy that Peter Jackson adapted off of, that's
Mm-hmm.
perfectly fine. Like, I think it's safe to say that Lord of the Rings as a visual style is dominated by that one artist. And that's perfectly
Mm-hmm.
fine. It's a great style, it's iconic, it's recognizable, and it's pretty. So it's like, there you go.
Yeah.
They just
Um.
need to throw a tall geese in there and some Gundam. Yeah,
Yeah. That
that'd
I
be
think
good.
that would make it top notch. But I'm excited. Just gotta wait it out.
hmm We should
Um.
pirate it so that we don't give Amazon any money.
Oh, there we go. Perfect. um. You want to move on to games?
I don't know. I'm still just looking at this image and I'm like, ah, cool. I'm sorry. I don't mean to take away
No,
from
no,
like,
no, no. Go for it.
but I'm really interested. I'm wondering if this is probably art of some kind of drawn art. I don't know. I'm interested in seeing what they're going to cover in this show. Like, I get that they're going to cover stuff from the Silmarillion and the Fall of
Yeah.
Numenor, but what will be the driving force, right?
Yeah, I'm not
Like, it's not going to
sure.
be like, oh, here's like a 10 episode disaster show, or like, you know, this is, what the Numenarian people did before they fell. It's like, oh, let's do reality television or, whatever.
Yeah. But who
But
knows?
yeah,
It is Amazon. They could very well just do that.
God, I hope not. I
Oh,
really
not
would
either.
like some quality behind the writing though. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I think Hobbit's an example of a sh- of a of a story that I think is really tired. You can hear it in some of the writing too. Like, it
Mm-hmm.
looks stunning, don't get me wrong. Uh, y- we've both bitched and moaned about like the use of CGI over practical effects, and that's fine. I think that argument is done in something like this because this just looks like CGI.
Yeah.
But I don't necessarily mind. Like, I get that. Like,
Right.
it's in the hands of a corporation. It's in the hands of people who I hope enjoy the franchise, but are in a completely different like mode of production. Yeah. Ready if you are. Move on to a
Yeah.
next topic.
So games. I'll start off by teasing you guys earlier. I've been playing the original, well, not the original, but Resident Evil Remastered on the PlayStation
Ooh.
4. And
I hate when
y-
that dog pops out of the window and just fucking makes me shit myself.
yeah, dude, it's scary. It's a scary fucking game, man. Um, like I've gotten used to it. I still freak out here and there, right? But like when I first was starting to play, I've been playing it with my friend, Peter. I've been going over their place, and he's like, "Oh yeah, here, go ahead and play." I'm like, "All right, sure, I'll do that." And yeah, man, I've been it's fun, but I do freak out. I tend to overreact. Um,
Oh, not overreact.
uh,
Don't say that.
to situations in the game, and I it's it's a lot scarier than I remember because the
Mhm.
last time I've seen it played and last time I played it was like on the PS1, like decades ago at this point.
Mhm.
Um, and so now playing the remastered version, which is, I'll say, it's nice. It looks beautiful. Um, and you can actually still like, well, not actually. So you still have to play kind of like tanky wise, where like you walk up, you go through a door, and then the camera angles at a certain angle, and then you have to move your character the way your character is not, or is not, contrast to the camera, but to way where your character is looking. So if your character is looking straight and you press up, they're gonna go where they're facing at that point, instead of
Right.
like if the camera is looking down the hallway, like they're not gonna start walking down the hallway.
Mhm.
So it takes a bit to get used to that. And then a lot of jump scares, a lot of jump scares. I think the one thing that really gets me going is when you walk into a room, because there's an animation. You walk up to a door, and there's a black screen. It shows the
And then
door,
the door. Yeah.
and then it opens up, and you go through, and then you're in the next area, and you don't know what's on that other side all the time, right? Sometimes there's nothing, sometimes there's a zombie, sometimes there's something that you weren't expecting at all. And yeah, so my reaction to most things is I walk through the door, I see something I don't like, I literally 180 go back through that door, and I'm like, hold on, I need a minute. um
I
yeah.
wish I could see that. I wish I could
Yeah,
see that
the
in
worst
fear.
the worst is when there's something right in my face.
Mhm.
I do freak out, and I like flip around, and I have to go through the door, or I try to run past zombies and shit. So, okay, so in the original there wasn't really a way to dodge zombies, but I guess in this one there's a way to do it. I have not learned how to do it yet. But I just kind of bob and weave,
Yeah.
and sometimes it works, and sometimes it doesn't work at all, and I lose health left and right, you know. And okay, so like strategically wise, you have to kill certain zombies because they're right in front of like s-
Where you need
uh
to go.
where you need to go, or special rooms that you're going to be coming back to all the time, right? What are called safe rooms. So then you have to pick and choose which zombies to kill, because again, you're limited to your ammunition. You do have to fight bosses, and it's a long game, right? You don't have access to a bunch of ammo.
Mhm.
And so I you know, I have to be careful on what I kill. And the other thing is, if you kill a zombie, um you have to burn them. And
Oh, I
so
didn't know that.
yeah, so this is just on the remastered. You have to burn them, because if you don't, they turn into what is called the Crimson Head. And what Crimson Heads are, they're stronger and faster. So,
Oh, that makes sense now that I think
y-
about it.
yeah, so if you knock them down, they fall, die, whatever, and then you leave the room, you come back, like their body's still there. Uh, you have to burn them before a certain amount of time, because if you don't, the next time you go into that room, they get up and they just start fucking rushing you. And if you don't have a way to kill them, like a shotgun or just fly past them, whatever, um, you're kind of screwed, right? Um, and the other thing that is new to the remastered compared to the original is, you know how there's that animation where you go through a door and stuff. So
Mhm.
in the original, like once you went through a door, like you're safe, right? Well, I mean, safe from what was on the other side. Um, in the remastered, that's not very true because
It
zombies,
comes through.
they go through doors.
I didn't experience any of that. Holy shit.
Yeah, and this is on the remastered version. It's dude, yeah, because what happens first is they start banging on the door and you can see it. And then
Oh.
if you're in that room long enough, they'll bust through, and then yeah, you're just kind of fucked. And they're just there, like in that room now, or in that
Mhm.
hallway that you're like, okay, there's no zombies in this hallway. Now all of a sudden there's zombies in the hallway. And you're like, fuck, I thought this was a safe fucking hallway.
I wonder
Um,
how that affects like gameplay. Like the idea of like, oh well, historically in terms of the game,
hmm.
you're able to play this area and that as a mechanic gives people a sense of levity for a moment.
Yeah, so if you Peter, the person who's kind of walking me through, says when you save, you don't have to save often, but make sure you have multiple save files because at some point you might realize, oh shit, I fucked up. I need to go back to the point where I didn't do
Hmm.
this, and that might be 2 or 3 saves ago. You might have to
Yeah.
redo a lot of stuff, but you're not put in a situation. For example, like there's certain hallways. If you do something, uh, that hallway will get full of zombies. So if you go through a hallway, trigger the zombies to fill that hallway, but then you are forced to go back because of you miss something or whatever. Now you have to try to dodge all those zombies or kill all those zombies.
Hmm.
Or if you do it correctly and you do everything before you trigger all the zombies, like you won't. There's no need for you to go through that hallway, all right? So if you
Right.
trigger them, you're fine. So it's like it really grabs that survival horror that you're going through, right? You have to plan your moves, like okay, like so when I first started a match, because I'm not playing it every day, right? I play it like maybe once a week or something. I go over there, I'm like okay, and I kind of plan out what the what the plan is, right? Like, okay, what did I do last time? Okay, I did this. Okay, so what do I have to do now? And I kind of have to figure out before I start doing things because if I do it wrong, I have to restart. I have to load the save because I might have fucked up or something.
Hmm.
So yeah, it's very entertaining to play.
Oh yeah.
I love it. Um, still scares the shit out of me. Um, again, it's weird because like I don't like horror movies. They're not like my partake. Is that how you pronounce it? I don't know.
Yeah. I don't partake in them.
Yeah, I don't partake in horror films, but like Resident Evil has been very very entertaining. I mean, obviously like they just did a really good job making the game, right? Um, but yeah, there's a lot of new features that I was told that wasn't in the original, and obviously they didn't, they beefed up the animations and stuff, but the thing that they added new things to it, and there's a lot of things that weren't in the original, and people like that. That it's like
Hmm.
they added to it, but it wasn't so. vastly different that it ruined the game. It like I think the way they're describing is the way I looked at Final Fantasy VII Remake, where like it's the similar game but completely different. You know,
Hmm.
like they added things to it that didn't ruin the game for me. You know,
Hmm.
obviously it's not out. You know, the Resident Evil remake is basically a a remake, right? It's like it's almost a one for one remake, except for the little additions and all this other stuff. Where like the Final Fantasy VII remake is more of like a reimagination. So it's like it's not exactly the same, but I kind of understand when people say like they enjoyed the additions they added to the remaster.
Hmm.
Mm.
I
Um,
can get behind that.
yeah. Um, so that's the game that I've been playing recently, and I've been enjoying it. The other game I've been trying to get trophies for is Darksiders 2. And I was talking to you before the podcast about it. Um, it's different than the first one. First one's way more um God of War esque,
Straightforward, I
right?
think. Yeah.
Yeah. Very hack and slash, like just mash square or triangle or whatever. You get some special abilities and maybe some specific weapons that do specific things that you use on specific bosses, whatever. And then that's about it, right? Just
Hmm.
go around and do that, and then you fight things, and that's it. Not really a level up system. You earn what are called souls, and then you buy things with that, like upgrade your health or
Sounds
upgrade
like a
your
dark
yeah
game,
yeah
a dark Souls game.
yeah. Basically, I think we had that discussion before when I was playing the first one. Um, where the second one is, it feels like a hack and slash, but there's an actual level up system, right?
It adds a bit more depth to the gameplay.
Yeah, so you level up and you actually pick up gear like your main uh weapons are scythes, and then your secondary could be like a big club or an axe or like some gauntlets. You have
Hmm.
you have your secondary weapon.
Kind of change up
Uh
the speed of the game.
yeah, and then you pick up like armor, gauntlets, boots, chest piece, and then you attach an amulet. It's full on like you gear up your character and how you want them, right? And then each gear has um like plus strength, plus damage, plus defense, plus it's just so not every piece of armor or every piece of weapon is the same. You do have unique weapons, and I believe unique armors as well. But for the most part, like they're level based too. So if you're level 2 and you have a unique level 2, probably by the time you're level 5 or even level 3, like you might find something even better than what that unique was. So it's like it, it's vastly different when it comes to that from the first one. Um, I have not played or seen any gameplay of the third one yet, so that's something that I would have to, like, I can't really say how the third one is compared to the second one, but
You should play
um,
it.
I'm thinking about it. Like I said to you before, if they give it out for free on the PlayStation Network, I'm definitely gonna play it. But I don't think I'm gonna throw money at it. Just because it seems like a lot of people have told me to steer clear of it.
You should play
Um,
it.
I should just play it. Um, but yeah, it's still a good game though. It's a good game. Me being the trophy hunter I am, I'm obviously getting all the collectibles so I can get that trophy, and then playing it on the most difficulty on my first run so I can get all those trophies done.
Hmm.
Um,
I
and good.
I'm gonna be honest. I never understood trophy hunting.
So it's just a sense of accomplishment, man. That's all it really is. like for example, I know plenty of people who have like I think I have like over 2,000 trophies, right, from all the games I've played. I know people who have like more than that. Um, but for me, it's the platinum trophy. The
Hmm.
platinum trophies is what fucking you know. What's the word? There's a phrase like it tickles my pickle or whatever. You know, like it gives me that sense of accomplishment of like anybody can get bronze trophies. You know, generally people get silvers and then golds. Like it's there, right? But
Hmm.
platinums, not everyone gets, man. Platinums, you have to get every single trophy in the game before you earn that platinum. So you can go through like what you can do is you go in and just play hella games, right? Play the story, beat it once, and then go to the next one, boom, boom. And you probably have a bunch of trophies. You probably have as many as I have, or maybe even get more. But then you
Hmm.
look at those platinum trophies, like how many platinums do you have? And a lot of people don't have platinums, because it's just like the platinum means you beat the game 100%. You know, like you did everything that you could in that game. You know, it's like that's 100%ing the game. And that's for me a sense of accomplishment, and you've done everything that the game has to offer.
Thank you for
Um,
reminding me that I just don't know how to finish things, Harry.
yeah, you beat games. You beat games. It's just 100%ing it. Like
Oh,
you
I
you
see.
spray you
So
spray
just beating the
models.
game isn't enough now.
Like
Now I have to do every conceivable thing.
look, you spray
God,
models. You spray them, but you just gotta get the details in there, man.
that hurt. That was a low blow. That was a I'm never recovering from that. I just want you to know that.
Mm. And other than that,
How
Divinity.
many platinums do you have?
I have 29 in total right now. I
For
took a
29 different games?
for 29 different games. I have unfortunately I took a really long break because I was just playing nothing but PC. So my PS3 at the time was being used by my family in the living room, and so I didn't play it as much. I was strictly PC for a long time. But most recently, I think almost 2 years by now. I bought the PS4 on sale Black Friday. Um, and I played this shit out of, and I was like, dude, trophy hunting. Forgot I hella love this. And yeah, I started playing games again and earning trophies. I think I got in the past year, you know, I got fucking. I'm so into this shit. I got a phone app.
Oh my
I got a
God, Harry,
PlayStation
you're
phone app.
addicted, pal.
Let me show you. I have earned one, two, three, four, five, six, seven, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 trophies in the past like 2 years. I've earned what, like almost like basically half the trophies I've earned in total. Um, because I think I went back and I looked at all the ones that like I'm like, oh, like for example, Borderlands. Like I was so close to earning the platinum on the original Borderlands, but I stopped playing. I think at that point I think is when I stopped playing on the PlayStation. I started playing on the PC. There's a lot of games that are like 80, 90% done, but I just stopped playing because I was doing something else.
Hmm.
But yeah,
Well, yeah, because fuck Borderlands.
yeah, yeah. Like Borderlands, I have Borderlands, Dead Space 2, LA Noire. Um,
Ooh.
yeah, there's like a lot of those games. I'm like really close to 100%ing, but I just stopped playing. Like I don't even have my PS3 anymore, so like those games are forever not gonna get 100%, or I'm never gonna get those platinums, and it like bugs me because it's like I'm so close to getting it, and I want those fucking platinums.
I know
Um,
what you're getting for Christmas. an old, useless console.
Yeah, and I got to get all those games again.
God.
Yeah, no, it's okay. But yeah, platinum trophies are fucking awesome. It's just a sense of accomplishment. That's all it really is. Um, and I'll say this. I think I discussed it before with, I don't know if it was with you or other people, but it's like there are certain games I won't touch because if I know for sure I'm not gonna get a platinum out of it, I'm
Hmm.
not gonna invest money or time into it. Unless it's like a really good game that I'm like, fuck, I kind of want to just play this game.
That's
Like
just
for
a shitty mindset, Harry.
look, well, sorry, I just burped. And I burped again. Um, Resident Evil 4 for the PS4. It's not really a remaster. I guess it is a remaster.
Hmm.
Um, um, has no platinum trophy, but
And why the fuck are you playing it?
because I like Resident Evil 4, it's a good
That's the
fucking
answer
game.
I like.
And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna buy it and I'm gonna play it. Because it's a good game. It's so, you know, but yeah, platinum trophies in general. It does
Good
bug
for you.
me. So like, so the PlayStation has this setup where they changed it recently. I don't know. It's weird. Now there's like this number, like there's like this tier, like and I have level 289, and I see a bunch of people who are like either around my level or higher than me, and I'm like, dude, what the fuck? And then I see how many platinums they have, and they have like maybe two, three, five at most. Like, why are they near my level? They have hella other trophies, like hella rares or gold, silver, and like a almost like 10,000 like bronze. I'm just like, really? Like, you're gonna put this person on my level when they have nowhere near as enough uh platinum trophies than me? That
Hmm.
bothers me, right? Personally, that bothers me because that what that reminds me of is the Xbox achievements where it's just numbers. Like, here's
Right.
10 points, here's 20 points. It's like I still went for achievements. That's the first time I like experienced anything like that. I was like, holy shit, there's like there's achievements in games like outside of the game. That's fucking cool, and I got points, right? And I was like, for example, like Left 4 Dead was one of the ones that like I try to get all the achievements, right? Call of Duty 4, Fallout 3, like all the ones
Hmm.
that I played on the Xbox. And when I got the PlayStation, I ran into trophies like, okay, it's just like achievements. But then I ran into the platinum trophies, and that's was like, holy shit, that's what I want. I want a fucking platinum trophy. Like, it's just that sense of accomplishment, Like, not everyone has those. Like in achievements, you can play like,
Yeah, I've mentioned people talking about this
yeah,
before now that I think about it, which is, yeah, I don't think anyone ever fucking talks about uh the achievement system on Xbox. But I hear
no,
people talking about the trophy system.
yeah, because it's mainly that, like you see like you can see like the percentage that people are at, and then also the if they have a platinum, right? Like that,
Hmm.
I think that because like for example, there's certain games that have DLCs and stuff like that your percentage won't be 100, but you would have gotten that platinum because the
Hmm.
platinum only affects the base game, right? Um, so it's like I don't know, like I have more respect to people, at least like trophy hunting wise, when they have platinums. If they like if they're bragging about like, oh, look how many trophies I have in total. It's like, yeah, no one cares, dude. Like anybody could just buy like 99-cent games and just like cuz so there is this thing online where you can just buy certain games that like you can get a platinum in like 10 minutes of gameplay.
Yeah.
And that's not fun. It's like, wow, like, okay, like, good for you. You got a platinum in like 10 minutes, dude. But it's like getting those grindy games, like Darksiders 2. Like, there's a lot of shit to those games, like I remember getting the platinum for Skyrim was like a fucking journey, dude, because it's like you have to play multiple different characters, Same thing
Mhm.
with the Fallout series, like getting the platinums on that, like you have to play multiple different characters because it's a um it you know you it's asking you to do like certain things, right? Like, oh, you have to use heavy weapons, and then another trophy is like you have to use, a crossbow or like a sniper or whatever, right? And so you have to play different characters and different styles and stuff like that. So you kind of, you do get a little bit of everything from the game, right?
Mhm.
Sometimes it's like you do like I don't know, it's just me pulling on my ass, like snipe three enemies in a row, with headshots or whatever, like stuff like that, right? So you kind of learn how to use the sniper in a shooter, right? Or like use a grenade launcher or whatever and stuff like that. Like for example, Resident Evil, the one I'm playing right now, it's I don't know. I'm gonna aim for the trophies, right? I'm gonna aim for the platinum because that's how I am. But one of them is you have to beat the game in invisible enemy mode. Now I'm pretty sure it's
Fuck.
straightforward, but I don't know how I'm gonna do that. It's obviously doable because people have earned platinums in that game.
By the grace of God, that's how.
Yeah, like okay, I have to play the game, try to memorize where the men or where the enemies are at, and
Oh my god.
yeah, I have no idea how that's gonna work. But
Kinda sick fuck.
yeah, so like
Jesus.
I don't know. So like getting that platinum trophy, right, for Resident Evil after beating the game on invisible fucking enemy mode, like that platinum's gonna feel really good.
Mhm.
Like I like I don't care if some person is like, yo, by the time you got that Resident Evil platinum, I got like 15. Like, okay, good for you, but I got the Resident Evil platinum.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like at that point, like and
That's like a status symbol
yes,
for yeah.
like for example, there are certain platinums that have, like you said, like more status to them because it's like that's hard. Like for example, the Demon Souls and Dark Souls, like
Mhm.
those platinums are worth more to the community because they're so much harder to get
Right.
compared to like something like SpongeBob Goes to Paris, the video game or whatever. It's like
God.
I don't even know if that's an actual game, but whatever, right? It's just stuff like that. Like for example, I remember people were like raving that one of the last Avatar video games was like the easiest like game to like platinum. Like you can get it like in less than an hour, like 10, something really like fast. Um and I was like, okay, that's cool. Like I didn't think that and a lot of people were like, oh dude, it's like a super easy platinum, just buy it and then get a quick platinum in less than an hour. And I remember a lot of the community was like kind of like, dude, like that's
What?
not, yeah, like dude, what? Like no, that's fucking like,
What do
like
you want me to do? Just play for
cuz
It's
like
literally just signposting that you played this and
mhm,
that you committed the time and effort into it. So like what's the point in playing a game like that if it's so easy?
yeah. And that's the thing, like, so there's two types of people in the community, right? There's the people who just want trophies, they don't care how they get them, and and everything. And then there's the people who like dedicate themselves to like play a game, whatever game they're playing, and getting that platinum, right? That's the community that I'm part of, where it's like
Mhm.
if I see like when I look through people's profiles and I see that they have like 50 plus, or sometimes, dude, there's some people that I've seen that have like 500 plus platinums. And I'm like, holy shit, I'm like, how the fuck, like, who is this person? And I kind of scroll through their like games that they played,
And
and
you realize that all they do is just farm platinums.
yeah, that's basically what they do. There are some that like that are in like hundreds platinums, but they're like legit. They have
Fuck.
like
God damn it. Now I want a platinum Shadow of the Colossus.
I'm telling you, dude, I'll bring over my PlayStation and we'll fucking do it, dude. And I'll bring over the old PlayStation 3, and we'll do that there too. They're separate games. You could double platinum Shadow of the Colossus.
Oh, that'd be so good. Don't fucking tempt me right now. God
But no,
damn you.
but that's so you know how like you like basically 100% of Shadow of the Colossus on the PS2.
Hmm.
So it's basically like that, but like the game acknowledging that you did it. Like,
Yeah.
yo, here's your platinum. You deserve it. You know,
Oh
like
yeah. It's yeah.
here's
Sony's
your
version of
award.
like, hey, look at this dude. This is the person putting in all this time and effort into this game.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's what it is, man. And it's fucking
Ugh.
it feels so good, man. Like again, like I understand people like their Xbox and stuff, but it's like that's one thing that like because when I first got the 360, I think I said this before. When I first got the 360, it was just purely because my friends had the 360, right? Call of
Yeah.
Duty 4, Gears of War, like Fallout, Oblivion, like that's people had the Xbox. They're like, oh, borrow my game. I'm like, I don't have a console. I have a PS2. you know. So I was like, all right, I'll fucking get an Xbox. Why not? And it was fun. I'm not gonna say it wasn't. It was fun. It's a lot of fun. But then when I got the PS3,
It
I was
offered
out.
something that Microsoft just couldn't for you.
Yup. And
Yeah.
obviously for me it was more exclusives, right?
Hmm.
I was like I still had my PS2, but then it was kind of being janky, and I had all my PS1 and PS2 games that I couldn't really play anymore. I was like, well, I mean, I want to play my PlayStation games, and that's so I was like, all right, I'll just get the PS3. Fuck. And then it was free and free. You can play online for free. That's the other thing that sold it for me. Where Xbox, you had to keep paying for the Xbox Live.
Hmm.
The PS3 had the you can play online for free. You remember? You remember? But enough
I'm
about
sorry,
me
I
and my
forgot
video
all of what you
games.
were saying. I was just thinking of Shadow of the Colossus now. No, I'm just kidding.
Enough. Okay,
No, but that
enough. Go ahead.
yeah. No, no, no. Please tell me. Keep going.
No, no, no. I was gonna move on to your games,
Oh.
but you can
No, like
continue.
in regards to just if I could briefly go over in
Yeah.
regards to fucking Resident Evil, like what we were talking about, like in terms of game mechanics,
Mm-hmm.
I love the fact that you're strapped for resources every step of the way.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Mm-hmm.
there's barely any moment where you're just like, okay, I have my shit together.
Mm-hmm.
Um, another I find really effective
Mm-hmm.
is the claustrophobia. Like the jump scares are
Yes.
pretty scary, but I think what's more frightening is being like 15 feet away from a like slowly encroaching zombie
Oh
and
God,
having like
yes.
6 shots and knowing
Mm-hmm.
like you have to use at least 4 of them. Like, oh, he's too far, so I can't pop him in the head. But if he gets too close, I might have to use that like what's that like um aim up ability or aim up trick
Yeah,
if
just aim up, man.
yeah, aim up if they're super close. But like that's not always 100%, or at least it wasn't for me because I'm dog shit. But like you're almost always going to have to spend like 4 bullets at least, right? Where it's like
Yeah.
one, two, or 2 or 3 to drop them, and then another 2 to finish them off on the ground, and
Yeah.
then not to mention incinerating the fuck out of them. So like they they really combo that sense of claustrophobia
Mm-hmm.
with your sense of desperation the entire time, and that's one of the things I liked. Um, I don't know. I think I like the sound of the "Oh, you escaped in this room," not in the remaster. I like that, but I think in theory, I can't help but feel like that messes with the pacing. As in, bear with me, this is not a genuine criticism. It's just something I like a gut reaction. I feel like it takes away from the planned levity of that room.
Mm-hmm.
Like the limitation of the game capabilities back then was
Yeah.
something that created like an unintentional levity for the character or the player, which is something that I think is valued because you do need to have like points where a character can release and then
So
get back into it.
so I can reiterate, they can only bust through certain hallways.
Okay, gotcha,
Not
gotcha.
not every, and then there are specific safe rooms where it's a safe room, like, and you can tell from the music that's it's a very iconic music that gets played, and
Mhm,
any Resident Evil fan would be like, oh, it's a safe room music, like, it's
mhm.
safe. And then
Until you're
also,
not.
yeah,
Now you're
exactly.
dead.
And the other thing is, whenever you go in and out of a door, the
Mhm.
zombies reset. So let's say
Uh-huh.
you go through a door and then the zombie starts chasing. They're like right next to you on that door. If you go through that door and then you turn around and go through that door again, the zombie resets to wherever they originally were. So there is like a sense of like you
Oh,
said,
that's neat too.
planning, and like, believe me, I had to go in and out a few doors just to reset, to figure out what the hell I was doing. Um because yeah, you sometimes you're like, okay, like, you open up your map and you're like, okay, I gotta go through this hallway, and then there's like two locked doors in the end. I don't know, like, I have one key on me, but I don't know if any of those doors unlock when I use this key. So you have to like
Mhm.
kind of like go through the hallway, and if there's any zombies, you gotta like try to dodge them, or like, if you notice, oh shit, there's a zombie at the end of the hallway where the doors are at and that I need to be at, you kind of like can turn around, reset, like, okay, like figure this out, because how am I
Get
supposed
your
to get past them?
bearings.
Exactly. So you still have that. You just,
Mhm.
um like, it's just that extra anxiety ridden where, like, you go through a door and then you're just like, okay, there's a zombie down this hallway, but
Mhm.
I'm safe on this side.
Or you're
you know
going down a hallway and you can hear it, and you don't know how
yes.
much leeway you have with the hallway. Like,
Mm-hmm,
"Oh,
mm-hmm.
hey, do I have, like, an entire hallway, or do I have, like, 5 feet?"
Yep. That's the anxiety riddenness of Resident Evil. That's really
Oh, yeah.
good.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
I get you.
I just wanted to
And then
reiterate the breaking through the
oh,
doors. Yeah.
gotcha, gotcha, gotcha. I apologize.
No, 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 it's okay. My fault.
No, you're fine, bud. Um, and then on top of that, I do enjoy what you were talking about with achievements. Like, I I like the idea, uh, especially in games. I think when games are democratized, well, not democratized. I
Hmm.
think when there's no like pay to win or pay to be cosmetically unique.
Hmm.
I like when you play a game. Like it's what we were talking about before. It's like I like when someone looks cool or is distinct from how
Hmm.
well and how like long they've played the game.
Right.
Like I prefer someone from Destiny looking so pimped out because of their commitment to the game and not like,
Yeah.
oh, this person like collected these motes of light and then did this one timed thing. Like I like the idea of this is available for everyone,
Hmm.
but certain things are for people who actually put in the work,
Yeah.
who put in the. The thing is like I don't think I'll ever get something like a platinum for playing Dishonored. There I just don't like playing an assassin. I don't like killing people. But
Hmm.
like I would absolutely go like stealth non-lethal the entire game, which isn't too hard, but the harder up you get on like the Knife of Dunwall, the Brigmore Witches, Death of the Outsider, it does get harder.
Yeah.
And you should absolutely be rewarded for playing a game like that on that kind of handicap.
Hmm.
Which is what you were talking about too with fucking invisible fucking enemies.
Yeah.
Like, are you fucking serious? Like, I remember the satisfaction I had when and you were there too. I remember the fucking satisfaction I had from beating Shadow of the Colossus's time attack mode and hard
Yep.
time attack mode.
Hmm.
Like that there's nothing that compares to that sense of satisfaction. And like it's cool that you are like decorated
Yeah.
for that to a degree. It's not like you receive, I think, anything uh substantial in like the game environment. But like I like the idea that the not the developers, but the platform's like, hey, we're not just going to throw you points that just get higher and higher. We're going to assign like a difficulty value to these awards,
Yep.
and you are recognized for how difficult these are that you've completed.
Mm-hmm.
And I like that. It's like, you know, it's the ultimate form of like, this is your skill, not, oh, you look pretty or you look cool because, you know, you paid for that or
Yeah.
you came in at the right time. Again, like
Mm-hmm.
the effort and the commitment to playing something I think should be rewarded. And as you've said, is the reward.
Yeah.
But yeah,
How about System Shock 2?
no,
No?
no. I actually just wanted to talk about one mechanic.
Please enlighten me.
Um, so I'm playing the game.
Yes.
I'm enjoying it. I'm not getting as much time in as I'd like, but I am enjoying what I'm playing.
Mm-hmm.
Looking Glass seems to does. There is something that I've noticed with Looking Glass that they did with Thief as well,
Okay.
which is their striking mechanic or their like handheld weapon mechanic, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, so H Bomber Guy is a YouTuber, very very popular one, who did a video on Dark Souls or Demon Souls or whatever. I don't fucking know. But he essentially talked about the deliberateness or the deliberate delay
Mm.
in planning your attacks. So, I mean, we all know if it's a Souls like, your character's very vulnerable.
Yeah.
You're locked into these long attack modes. You press a button, it takes seconds, not like some instantaneous jab or some strike, right?
Yeah.
And this is not a fault in the design. This is intentional, right? This creates a sense of dread, a sense of anxiety, and it forces you to plan how you settle engagements. You can't just go willy nilly into this arena and just start swinging. You have to plan how you're going to attack this thing, right?
Right.
So uh, I'm playing this game, and for lack of a better word, at the moment, I've ran into like zombie. Uh, what is it? Basically, just like zombie creatures. They're like human beings, but they have some kind of like mutation, and they're kind of like Flood almost from Halo. Doesn't it
Mm-hmm.
really doesn't matter. Fucking besides the point. Um, the first ones that I run into are uh, hand-to-hand combat based. So they have like uh, Jesus, I'm trampling over my own words. They have like crowbars.
Oh, okay.
So when you first start playing, the difficulty curve, even on normal, is insane. You walk into
Mm.
an area, and if you're not paying attention, you're going to get bludgeoned in the head in 2 strikes and killed.
No.
Um, so with Thief, the same sense of vulnerability was there. So you're you're the character Garrett. So you're this thief. You're not very uh, deadly. You're more agile. You're meant to hide. Like this is true stealth in its finest. And the sword is an optional weapon, I believe,
Okay.
but completely useless. The billy club is what you use. And whenever you're stuck into engagement with knights or anyone with a sword, you're fucked.
Mm.
So the mechanics are slightly different with System Shock 2, where you are vulnerable. Um, it does take a certain amount of hits to kill these things, but I really like the idea of like your swing is not like this 1-to-1 ratio. It's like click attack, click attack, click attack. It's click, swing attack, click, swing attack,
Yeah.
click, swing attack. You have to plan out how you're going to fight these things because it takes 2 or 3 hits in your current state before they kill you, and they hit faster than you.
Huh.
So, I again, nothing fancy. This is just
Yeah.
like simple game design. But I really like the idea of I'm used to literally just going in and just swinging, right? Skyrim does it. Um, a bunch of other like hand-to-hand combat or sword-based combat games do it, right? Where it's like there's no consideration for your vulnerability. They're mostly like empowerment games, like oh, you can wield all these powers and da da da. And Dishonored actually, I think, deserves a bit of criticism there too because it's less it diverts away from some of the stealth and is more about, I think, empowerment, so you're less vulnerable.
Mm-hmm.
But in System Shock 2, you are vulnerable from the get-go, and I doubt there's going to be a point, just from how I've been playing the game, that you're ever going to be completely on top of the food chain. Um, so it's just interesting because some of these things have like a normal attack speed. Some of them will have like a slightly fastened one. If you time it perfectly, and I don't know how yet, you can actually block an enemy swing. So, you can swing, but they'll swing faster. So you have to time like a 2-second delayed swing with like a 1-second delayed swing. And they're faster than you. So again, like I just like how they're forcing the player to examine how to play the game. Like,
Mm-hmm.
do I just jump into this fight when I can't really afford to waste my health? Um, you know, how do I attack these characters? What's worth going down this hallway? Or I see these folks, maybe I should come back another time. Like I like how uh player behavior is taken into consideration.
Yeah.
And that's always fun, seeing how someone would consider how to play.
Yeah.
But yeah, nothing really to it. I just wanted to bring up that thing that I
Yeah.
that I think I've been running into the most. Um, always short on ammo. Uh, kind of the beginnings of an immersive sim. Player choice, player paths, and planning out how you play, planning out what your course of action is going to be.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah,
I was gonna say, do you own XCOM 2?
I don't.
It's on sale right now, 75% off on Steam.
Oh, I think I might have to get it soon then. It's
Mm-hmm.
75% off?
Yeah.
Okay. Because yeah, you and Ved mentioned that in the chat, and I've actually been interested in giving it a try.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's the same. I don't think that's first of all, I don't think that's what you were mentioning. But
Oh,
like the idea of since we were playing Divinity 2, the idea
yeah.
of planning out how you play uh, with a degree of caution, I think is interesting. The difference
Yeah.
is System Shock 2 is in real time and
Yeah.
Divinity and XCOM are turn based.
Yep.
Um, I wonder if it's overhyped, but I do think some of what like steered me away from the game
Mm-hmm.
was some of the early like memes everyone was making about it. Like you could have like 90 something percent at point blank range and still just completely fucking fail.
Yeah.
Like something that I heard a lot of that they had a huge problem with. But I'm more than willing to give it a try
No, I mean, it reminds me of
because there are some role playing elements that I'm interested in. Go ahead.
no, I say it reminds me of when you see the VATS and Fallout. And you have
Ugh,
like you're like they're right in your face and you miss completely. You're just like, what?
yeah.
Yeah, that.
That's so fucking silly. But yeah, no, I'm sorry. I know I kind of cut you off with that. Tell
No,
me
you're good.
about XCOM.
Oh, no, no, I was just letting you know that XCOM
Oh, you
2's
were
out.
just saying something and expecting me to talk about it. Oh, that's cool.
No,
That's cool.
not at all. I was just letting you know, hey, XCOM 2 is on sale. So if you were thinking about getting it, 75% off is a pretty good deal. But again,
How
I'm not.
long is the sale going on? Is there like a
Yeah,
thing for all?
yeah, for all of them
Yeah,
actually, the whole XCOM series. So
you know
yeah,
fucking what?
XCOM
Do you have
franchise sale.
any idea what, Harry?
Do I know any idea of
There
what?
was a video game trailer
Oh,
in the late aughts, I think late aughts 2010 or something,
mm-hmm.
which was like a first person XCOM game.
Oh,
And it had kind of like a BioShocky vibe to it with like a mix of that like mythical 50s Americana.
mm-hmm.
And I was so goddamn excited and then nothing. They didn't release it. They had to tool like it's a prequel series. So XCOM has
Oh,
always been kind of popular as like the near future like covert war against alien invaders kind of thing. This
mm-hmm.
was the beginning of it where they took like the G-Man look
Okay,
and feel
yeah.
with, the XCOM that we know and love. But yeah, I god damn, I kind of want to watch that now, the trailer for that. You watch the shit out of that. Tell me tell me fucking next week how cool it is if we don't
Okay,
forget. But
hopefully not.
yeah, I'm totally down to play XCOM.
Hmm? Next week, are they releasing Suicide Squad on HBO Max?
They probably are.
If that is the case, we will do a review of that movie.
Okay. Sure, sure,
Yeah,
sure. I'll watch it. I'll watch it if you watch it.
I'll watch it. Oh, I'll watch it.
So for anyone who's interested, the game that I'm talking about is called The Bureau, XCOM Declassified. And then they turned it into like a 50s third person tactical whatever XCOM is now or has always been.
Mm.
But that still broke my heart.
Anything else?
No, 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 no.
Yeah, that was
I think
that
that's
was
about it.
that was it for our
I have
agenda.
to sleep and have nightmares about how I filled my Gumpla.
Yeah, I'm gonna just sleep.
No.
Weird story. One time, I I'm pretty sure I was still in elementary school. I was very young, and my mom was tucking me in for bed. Like, okay, good night.
In elementary school?
Yeah.
At the elementary school?
No, sorry, I was in elementary school, as in like I was that age, but I was at home, like bedtime. She was tucking me in, and
Oh.
yeah, and so th- just I need it's always hard to describe because it was so weird. So I say goodnight, and I close my eyes, and then my mom shakes me, and I'm like, "What's up?" She's like, "Get up for school. You're gonna like you didn't get up for school." I'm like, "What are you talking about? Like you literally just put me to bed." She's like, "What? Like, dude, let's go. You gotta get up." I'm like, "What?" And I look at the clock, and it's like morning time. I'm like, "What the fuck just happened?" It was the
God.
weirdest thing. I still have no
So what happens when
explanation.
you take sleeping for granted.
Yeah, dude, like I don't remember sleeping at all. Like I just remember closing my eyes, and my mom still hasn't turned off the light to my bedroom. That's what I remember. That's why I found it like it didn't hit me cuz like when my mom put me to bed, the light was still on. I closed my eyes, and then she shook me, and I was confused like what why are you shaking me? Cuz and then she had the light on to wake me up and everything. And I was just like, why are you shaking me? What's going on? Like, we literally just said goodnight. And he was like, oh, get up. You got to wake up for school. I'm like,
Little bear cub, you poor thing.
yeah, it was so weird. I don't know. Hold on. You know what? I know we'll probably have to go to bed, but you know what? I'll look it up later. I don't know how to look it up. I think every time I want to
You'll look
look it
up
up,
when you were sleeping and then woken by your mother.
yeah, no. I see that's the thing. I don't know how to like look that up on the internet. Like if anybody's ever experienced that, where they just they shut their eyes for a second and then they like open them again, and then it's the next day. Like I've never
Yeah, I
I've
got news for you, pal. That's
huh.
called sleeping.
but uh,
No,
but
no, I'm digging with. I know what
it,
you mean.
it
Where all of a sudden it's like the sense of time is just gone.
yeah, I'm like, what the hell? Yeah, dude, that was really weird. I just kind of accepted my fate as a kid, but as an adult, I'm like, dude, what the fuck happened, man?
I
There's like,
refuse to accept that. Yeah.
yeah, like something happened that night, and I don't know what the hell it was.
You
You
know what it
know?
was?
Hmm.
You were abducted by Greys.
Dude, you know what? Now that you say that, I think I've read about that shit, and I think
Hmm.
I like didn't. I was like, nah, there's no fucking way. But it's like, you know, what? I still don't think that's true on my end. But it's still like
I
I
hope not.
remember I remember reading about that shit, dude. It's fucking crazy. Like I don't know. Like like I believe there's life out there, right?
Hmm.
Like actual like, extraterrestrials. But
Like
like
Alf.
yeah, exactly. Um but like I don't know to the extent of like abducting people and shit like that, you know? I don't know. That's
Yeah,
just
like
me
putting
personally.
shit in people's butts. Like who does that?
Yeah, who fucking does that, you know? Yeah, it's just a little story I wanted to throw out there because it just reminded me of that shit. And, you know,
This is gonna have to be titled "The Time You Were Abducted by Aliens."
right? I should just go around and say I was abducted by aliens that night. That's my story. Like, oh yeah, I was abducted by aliens once, dude. And then tell them the story, and they were like, okay, but so were the aliens? Like, oh
Oh
yeah,
man,
well
no, that's just a
they
theory.
they erased my memory or something. I don't know, man.
Like, yeah, man, I'll get it back eventually, and that'll be a better story.
Yeah, it'll be a way better story instead of like my mom shaking me.
See, that's what it was. You your mom was an alien.
Oh shit,
Yeah,
you're right.
yeah,
That makes
yeah.
sense, dude.
There
Yeah.
we go. She
You know,
was like speaking in like clicks and whistles, but your brain couldn't like process it.
dude,
So it
I
was
just
like,
thought
oh shit.
I'm just this is just flying out of my ass right now. What if like the Greys like abduct people, but then put clones of those people back on Earth, and they keep the
Oh, that's
originals?
fucking awful. Thanks for giving me something to think of for the next hour and a half.
Dude, that's fucking crazy. What if they do?
I'm
What
gonna
if they?
have to fucking ask my mom a whole bunch of hard questions now.
Yeah, man. Like I don't know. Just thinking, you know. Dude, we should just start a fucking
Conspiracy.
because yeah, it's our next
And that's just more
podcast.
fucking reading, god damn it.
It
I
really
don't read
is.
enough as it is.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. Yeah, fuck, that's too much work.
Yeah, but let's interview everyone in the country. Now I like that one too.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Um, let's see. If you want to watch our alien invasion, alien conspiracy videos, you can watch us at youtube.com at Hitting the Mark with Harry and Mark. If you want to tell us about alien invasion scenario that you might have gone through, or one that you've probably written about in your erotic fantasies, hit us up at hittingthemark2020 at gmail.com. Or if you'd like to retweet us alien invasion stuff, the good
hmm
stuff, can hit us up at capital H, capital T, capital M underscore podcast. Once again, HTM underscore podcast. We hope to chat with you next week. We'll, if you want, see about watching Suicide Squad together, or we could do it independently and gush about it on Thursday.
hmm
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
either one works for me.
All right.
All right. We'll see you folks next week. Take
Bye
it
bye.
easy. Auf Wiedersehen, assholes.